There is a reason people overlook you. There is a reason your words carry no weight in rooms where decisions are made. There is a reason certain men command respect the moment they enter, while you fight for scraps of attention. And that reason is not your intelligence, it is not your talent, it is not even your circumstances. It is you. It is the habits you have allowed to infect your presence. The behaviors you repeat every day without realizing they are broadcasting weakness to everyone around you. Niccolo Machiavelli understood something centuries ago that most men still refuse to accept today. Respect is not given freely. It is not earned through kindness alone. It is commanded through perception, through calculated presence, through the elimination of every habit that signals you are someone who can be dismissed. Today, you will learn the 7 habits that are destroying you. Today, the bleeding stops. The first habit is over-explaining yourself. The first habit that invites disrespect into your life like an open wound invites infection is the habit of over-explaining yourself. Every time you justify your decisions, every time you offer long reasons for your choices, every time you feel the need to make others understand why you did what you did, you are telling the world that you do not trust your own authority. You are asking for permission after the fact. You are begging for approval disguised as communication. Machiavelli observed that the prince who explains too much appears uncertainty. And uncertainty is the perfume of the weak. When you over-explain, you hand others a weapon. You give them material to question, to argue, to dissect. You transform a closed matter into an open debate. Powerful men do not do this. They speak once, they state their position, they move forward. The silence that follows is not emptiness, it is gravity. It is the weight of a man who does not need your agreement to proceed. Look at the lions of the corporate jungle, the men whose words reshape rooms. They do not offer paragraphs when sentences will do. They understand that brevity signals confidence and excess signals doubt. When you explain yourself endlessly, you are not being clear. You are being weak. You are revealing that somewhere inside you there still lives a frightened child who needs everyone to approve of his choices. Kill that child today. From this moment forward, speak with intention. Offer your decision and nothing more, unless strategy demands elaboration. Let your silence communicate what your words cannot. Let others wonder. Let them fill the void with their own assumptions. A man shrouded in mystery is a man granted power by the imagination of those who watch him. Stop explaining. Start commanding. The first step toward becoming untouchable is refusing to justify your existence to those who have no authority over your path. The second habit is being too available. The second habit that silently erodes your respect is the habit of being too available. You answer every call. You respond to every message within minutes. You rearrange your schedule for people who would not sacrifice a single second for you. And in doing so, you have made yourself common. You have become furniture in the lives of others. Always present, always accessible, always there, and therefore always taken for granted. Machiavelli wrote that what is easily obtained is cheaply valued. And you have made yourself the easiest thing to obtain. Think about this with cold clarity. The things men chase are the things that remain just beyond reach. The promotion that demands years of labor. The woman who does not fall at first glance. The mentor who grants his time sparingly. These things command desire precisely because they are not freely given. Yet here you are, offering your time, your energy, your presence to anyone who asks, wondering why no one treats these gifts as precious. They do not treat them as precious because you have taught them not to. Your constant availability has trained the world to see you as someone with nothing more important to do. You have broadcast that your time holds no weight, that your presence carries no cost, that you can be summoned and dismissed at the convenience of others. This stops now. You must learn the art of strategic absence. You must understand that your presence gains power when it becomes selective. Do not answer immediately. Do not always say yes. Do not be the man who is always there, because that man becomes invisible through sheer repetition. Create space. Create scarcity. Let people feel the vacuum when you are not present. Let them wonder where you are. What you are doing, what important things occupy your attention. The man who is difficult to reach becomes the man others reach toward. Your time is your most valuable currency. Stop spending it on those who have shown you they cannot afford it. The third habit is seeking validation. The third habit that marks you as prey in a world of predators is the habit of seeking validation. You look for nods of approval before you commit. You fish for compliments to feel worthy of your own accomplishments. You measure your value through the eyes of others rather than through the mirror of your own standards. And every single time you do this, you hand over the keys to your self-worth to people who did not earn the right to hold them. Machiavelli understood that a prince who depends on the favor of others stands on unstable ground. And you have built your identity on that crumbling foundation. When you seek validation, you reveal that you are incomplete without external confirmation. You announce to the room that your own opinion of yourself is not enough. You confess that somewhere deep within you there is a hollow space that only the approval of others can fill. Predators see this instantly. They see a man who can be manipulated with praise and destroyed with criticism. They see a man whose strings are exposed and waiting to be pulled. The moment you need someone to tell you that you are good enough, you have given that person power over your emotional state. You have made yourself a puppet. Cold power teaches us that validation must come from within, or it becomes a leash around your neck. The man who validates himself cannot be controlled by flattery or wounded by dismissal. He operates from an internal throne that no outside opinion can topple. You must become this man. Stop asking if your work is good and decide that it is. Stop waiting for applause and become your own audience. Stop searching other people's eyes for approval and let your own gaze be the only judgment that matters. When you no longer need the world to confirm your worth, the world begins to sense that your worth is undeniable. Self-approval is not arrogance. It is armor. Wear it without apology and watch how differently they treat you. The fourth habit is revealing your plans. The fourth habit that invites sabotage into your life is the habit of revealing your plans. You announce your ambitions before they are realized. You share your strategies with people who have not proven their loyalty. You speak of what you will become while you are still in the process of becoming. And in doing so, you arm your enemies with the exact blueprint they need to destroy you. Machiavelli warned that men should never disclose their intentions until execution is complete. And yet you parade your unfinished dreams before audiences who may not wish to see you succeed. Understand this with brutal honesty. Not everyone who smiles at you wants you to win. Not every friend celebrates your victories without a trace of bitterness in his heart. Not every colleague who asks about your plans does so with pure intentions. The moment you reveal what you are building, you invite interference. You invite doubt disguised as concern. You invite sabotage dressed as friendly advice. You give others the opportunity to prepare countermeasures while you are still gathering your strength. The silent man is the dangerous man because no one knows where he is aiming until the arrow has already landed. Dark psychology teaches us that information is power. And every piece of information you give away freely is power you may never reclaim. Your plans are sacred. They are private architecture. They deserve protection until the structure is complete and undeniable. When you tell people what you intend to do, you also create pressure on yourself. You begin to perform according to their expectations rather than your own timeline. You invite their judgment into your process. You allow their skepticism to contaminate your confidence. A wise man builds in darkness and reveals only in the light of completion. Let your results speak with a volume your words never could. Let your success arrive as a surprise to those who underestimated you. Let them wonder how you achieved what they never saw coming. From this moment forward, guard your intentions like a general guards his battle strategy. Share only what is necessary. Deflect questions with vague answers that satisfy curiosity without revealing substance. Become comfortable with secrecy, because secrecy is the cloak that protects ambition from those who would strangle it in its crib. Move in silence. Let your success make the noise. The world respects the man who appears from nowhere with victories no one predicted. The fifth habit is reacting emotionally. The fifth habit that strips you of power faster than any external enemy is the habit of reacting emotionally. You let words pierce you. You let provocations hijack your composure. You let anger, frustration, jealousy, and hurt rise to the surface where everyone can see them. And in that moment of exposure, you hand the remote control of your behavior to whoever pushed your buttons. Machiavelli observed that the prince who cannot govern his emotions will soon find himself governed by those who can exploit them. And you have been governed by others for far too long. Every emotional reaction is a confession. When you explode in anger, you confess what disturbs you. When you sink into jealousy, you confess what you desire, but fear you cannot have. When you crumble under criticism, you confess where your insecurities live. These confessions are weapons handed freely to anyone paying attention. And believe this with absolute certainty, there are always people paying attention. Predators study emotional men the way hunters study the patterns of their prey. They learn what triggers you. They catalog your weaknesses. They wait for the perfect moment to use the exact provocation that will send you spiraling while they remain calm, watching you destroy yourself with your own reactions. Dark psychology teaches us that emotional control is the foundation of all power because the man who masters himself cannot be mastered by others. When someone insults you and you remain still, you demonstrate that their words hold no authority over your inner state. When chaos erupts around you and you breathe slowly while others panic, you become the anchor everyone looks to for stability. When manipulation is attempted and you respond with calculated indifference, you render the manipulator powerless. This is not about suppressing emotion. It is about choosing when and how emotion is expressed. Feel what you feel internally, but let your outward presence remain a fortress of composure that no one can breach without your permission. Train yourself to pause before reacting. In that pause lives your freedom. In that pause, you reclaim the power reactive men surrender every day. Practice the art of the cold gaze. Practice the discipline of measured response. Practice becoming the man who cannot be rattled, because that man terrifies those who rely on emotional manipulation to control others. The world will test you constantly. People will provoke you deliberately to see what you are made of. Your answer must always be stillness. Your answer must always be control. Let them rage, let them insult, let them scheme. You remain the eye of the storm, untouched and untouchable, watching lesser men drown in emotions you have learned to command. The sixth habit is tolerating disrespect. The sixth habit that guarantees you will be walked over for the rest of your life is the habit of tolerating disrespect. Someone speaks to you with contempt, and you swallow it to keep the peace. Someone dismisses your contribution, and you remain silent to avoid confrontation. Someone crosses a line that should never be crossed, and you pretend it did not happen because addressing it feels uncomfortable. And with each act of tolerance, you carve an inscription into the minds of everyone watching that reads, "This man can be disrespected without consequence." Machiavelli wrote that it is better to be feared than loved if one cannot be both. And while you do not need to be feared in the ancient sense of the word, you absolutely must be respected in a way that carries weight. What you tolerate, you teach. This is not philosophy, this is law. Every time you allow someone to treat you poorly without response, you are conducting a training session. You are teaching them exactly how far they can push you. You are showing them that the boundaries you claim to have are made of paper and dissolve at the slightest pressure. And they will push further next time, because you have demonstrated that pushing works. Dark psychology reveals that human beings are constantly testing hierarchies. They probe for weakness. They experiment with small acts of disrespect to see what they can get away with. The man who responds firmly to the first small violation rarely faces larger ones. The man who lets small violations slide invites an avalanche of greater disrespect because he has proven himself a safe target. Enforcing boundaries is not about aggression. It is not about shouting or threatening or creating unnecessary conflict. It is about calm, clear, immediate communication that certain behaviors will not be accepted. It is about the willingness to walk away from relationships, opportunities, and even financial gains when the cost is your dignity. The man who can walk away holds all the power. because he has demonstrated that his self-respect is not for sale at any price. You must become allergic to disrespect in all its forms. The subtle condescension, the jokes that are not really jokes, the interruptions that signal your words do not matter, the broken promises that communicate your time is worthless. Address these immediately, not with emotion but with cold clarity. Let people know through your words and your actions that disrespecting you is an expensive mistake they will not want to repeat. Some relationships will end when you begin enforcing boundaries. Let them end. Those who cannot treat you with basic respect were never allies. They were parasites feeding on your tolerance. The people who remain after you raise your standards are the people worthy of your presence. You are not responsible for teaching grown adults how to behave, but you are absolutely responsible for refusing to accept treatment that diminishes you. Draw your lines in stone. Defend them without apology. The world respects those who respect themselves enough to demand proper treatment. The seventh and most devastating habit is living without purpose. This is the habit that condemns men to a life of invisibility and disrespect. You drift through your days without direction. You wake up without a mission that sets fire to your blood. You move from distraction to distraction, from weekend to weekend, from comfort to comfort, never building anything that will outlast your temporary pleasures. And the world sees this emptiness in your eyes. The world feels the absence of gravity in your presence. The world instinctively knows that a man without purpose is a man who can be ignored, used, and discarded because he is not going anywhere that matters. Machiavelli understood that the prince with clear ambition commands respect not through force alone, but through the magnetic pull of directed will. Purpose is gravity. It is the invisible force that pulls others into your orbit and holds them there. When you possess a burning reason for your existence, it radiates from your posture, from your voice, from the way you spend your hours. People sense it without being told. They feel that you are moving towards something significant. And that feeling alone elevates you above the masses of aimless men, wandering through life hoping something meaningful will find them. Dark psychology teaches us that human beings are drawn to certainty in a world of confusion and endless options. The man who knows exactly what he wants and pursues it relentlessly becomes a lighthouse in the fog. Others will follow you simply because you appear to know where you are going. Others will respect you because your clarity exposes their confusion. Others will hesitate to disrespect you because disrupting a man on a mission feels instinctively dangerous in a way that disrupting a drifter does not. Purpose transforms everything. It transforms how you spend your time, because wasted hours become stolen resources from your mission. It transforms who you allow into your life, because people are measured by whether they accelerate or obstruct your path. It transforms how you tolerate disrespect, because you no longer have the time or patience for those who do not recognize your value. The purposeless man accepts mistreatment because he has nowhere better to be. The purposeful man walks away from mistreatment because every second spent on those who diminish him is a second stolen from his destiny. Find your purpose or create one. It does not matter if it evolves over time. What matters is that you have something to build, something to chase, something that makes your existence feel like a directed arrow rather than a leaf blown by random winds. Write it down. Speak it aloud. Let it become the filter through which every decision passes. When opportunity arises, ask whether it serves your purpose. When relationships form, ask whether they strengthen your mission. When disrespect appears, measure it against the cost of your attention and walk away knowing your purpose deserves better than those who cannot see your worth. You have now seen the 7 habits that have been bleeding your respect dry. Over-explaining yourself like a man on trial. Being too available like a man with nothing valuable to protect. Seeking validation like a man who cannot trust his own reflection. Revealing your plans like a man who has never known betrayal. Reacting emotionally like a man whose strings are visible to every puppeteer. Tolerating disrespect like a man who believes he deserves no better. Living without purpose like a man who has surrendered his right to matter. These habits end today, not tomorrow, not next week. Today. You now possess knowledge that most men will never encounter. The only question is whether you will apply it or return to the comfortable weakness that brought you here. The choice is yours alone, and that choice will echo through every remaining day of your life. If this message awakens something in you, prove it. Leave a comment below with the words, "I am the storm they never saw coming." Let that declaration become your first act of commitment to the man you are becoming. If these words gave you value, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because this is only the beginning. More lessons on power, respect, and unshakable presence are coming, and you will want to be here when they arrive. Your transformation starts now. Go become untouchable.